This lesson is covering surface area of prisms. First of all, there's two different types of surface area that sometimes you'll be asked to find. One is total surface area and one is lateral area. The total surface area is when you're finding the sum of the areas of all surfaces, everything, of a solid. This includes bases and faces. The lateral surface area is just when you're finding the sum of the areas of faces only. So bases and faces, everything, or just the faces. So you need to figure out what is the shape of the base, how many bases, what's the name of this figure, because that's going to affect eventually what formula you use. You'll find the area of the bases initially, then we'll work our way to a formula. Find the area of the bases, find the area of the faces, add it all together. And then remember, this is area, so your units will be squared. So on this one, this is a prism because it has two bases, and we're looking at the net. So in this particular one, it doesn't matter what you use as your base, it's going to be a rectangle. Typically, you're going to use the two that are the same. These two are the same. The ones around here are all the same, which to me says that those are faces, and this one's a base. So the base shape is a rectangle, which makes, there are two of them, and that makes this a rectangular prism. So for the front, which happens to be a base, it's 2 times 3. For the top, which is a face, it's going to be 3 times this length, which is 5. And the left is over here, it's 2 times 5. Now it should make sense that the left side is the same as the right side. And the top is the same as the bottom. And the front is the same as the back. So once we find all those areas, we're going to add them together. So 2 times 3 is 6, 15, 10. These are also 6, 15, and 10. So 10 and 10 is 20. 15 and 15 is 30. So now we're up to 20 and 30, which is 50. And that's 12, so 62. So we are at 62, and this is units squared. That's how you're going to find total surface area. It's just finding all those sides and adding them up. Now, generally you'll be looking at the three-dimensional figure, but sometimes you'll also be given a net. So it's important when you're given a net to be able to multiply each and every side and identify what pieces are the same length. So this is the same as this one because when it'll fold together. So this is going to be 10, which means this is 10. And then this will fold together with this, so these are the same lengths. So 3 times 2, there's your 6. I personally think it's a little bit harder to do from a net, so whenever I'm given a net, I always just go ahead and I draw it as a three-dimensional figure. Eventually, you will get a formula for this, but we're going to work on just finding the pieces first. So the lateral surface area is just going to be these faces. Okay? So you can always find each individual one and then add them up. But if you think about it, we're going to be doing 2 times 5, 2 times 5, so 2 and 2. We're going to be doing 3 times 5 and 3 times 5. So really, instead of doing 2 times 5 plus 2 times 5 plus 3 times 5 plus 3 times 5, what I can really do is say, okay, 2 plus 2 is 4, 3 plus 3 is 6. Okay, so that's 10. That's my perimeter. 10 times 5 is 50. So perimeter times the height of the prism. This is 10 plus 10 plus 15 plus 15. Oh my goodness, look what happened. I got the same exact thing. This is the same as doing this. So your perimeter your formula for lateral surface area, and this is on your formula chart, is big P times H, where big P is the perimeter of the base. Anytime you have a capital letter in a formula like that, it means of the base. This H is lowercase, so it just means height of the prism. So that's for your lateral surface area. As you can imagine, your total surface area is going to take this in there. But there's two of them. So we would take 2 times 3, which is 6, and we would add that in twice. Or really, that's the same thing as adding 2 times one of the bases. When you look at your formula for total surface area, that's your lateral, that was your perimeter times your height, and oh, look what we added to it, 2 bases. So again, the big P represents the perimeter of the base. H is small, so it represents the height of the prism. Big B, area of the base. Now again, this formula will be on your formula chart, but you have to know what to use for B, P, and H. And that's where most people struggle, so just be careful with that. So again, we're going to fill this in down here. The perimeter is 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3. So 2 plus 2 is 4, 3 plus 3 is 6. So the perimeter was 10. And remember, that's of the base. The height of the prism is 5. And the area of the base is 2 times 3, so 6. So my lateral surface area is perimeter times height. The perimeter was 10. The height was 5. That's how we came up with 50. Perimeter times height plus 2 times the base. That's my total surface area. I already figured out that the perimeter times the height was 50. And then 2 times the base, the area of the base is 6. So this is going to be 50 plus 12, which is 62. Oh, look at that. What did I get on the other problem? Oops. I got that 62 on the other problem. So same thing. It doesn't matter how you do it, really. It's just eventually you need to get to where you can use this formula. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the next couple, is I'm going to be using the formula only. So notice this time, my base is a triangle. So it is a triangle. I have 2 of them, which makes this a triangular prism. So how do I find perimeter? Well, I add up all the sides. So it told me tick, tick. That means these are the same. So 5 and 5 and 6. That's 16. What's the height of the prism? Well, the height of the prism is from base to base. So sometimes it's hard to see that, so I'm going to highlight it. I'm actually going to draw in the rest of my prism. I like seeing all of it. So again, here's my other base. So what you're looking for is the part that goes from base to base. That height of the prism is 10. Now be careful here. You're going to find the area of the base, which is base times height divided by 2. Notice how this B is little. That B is little because it's only of the triangle. It's talking about a 2-dimensional figure, not of the 3-dimensional figure. So the base of that is 6. The height, remember, heights always make a right angle with the base. The height is 4. So 6 times 4 is 24, divided by 2 is 12. Now it's time for me to take my formula. Perimeter times height. The perimeter was 16. The height was 10. So my lateral surface area is 160 inches squared. Okay? Please remember that your lateral surface area would be this left side, this left and right and bottom side, not the bases. So my total surface area is perimeter times height plus 2b. I already figured out, sorry, that's an equal sign. I already figured out that perimeter times height is 160. So plus 2 times the base, I already figured out the base was 12. So I've got 160 plus 24. That's going to give me 184 inches squared. And that is the entire prism. So on this one, we're going to find just the lateral surface area. Remember, it's the sum of all the faces, not the bases. So our base here is a triangle. Remember, it's always the oddball shape. So there are 2 of them, which means this is a triangular prism. All right, so face number 1 is over here, face number 2, and then 3 is in the back. So for face number 1, and it doesn't matter which one you call face 1, 2, or 3, it's going to be 12 times 24. And face number 2 is also going to be 12 times 24, which is 288. Face number 3 is the one in the back, and that is 17 times 24, which is 408. So since we're doing lateral surface area, we are not including the bases, so we're just going to add all these numbers together, and it's 984 centimeters squared, and we're just going to double check this with our formula. So the perimeter of the base is 12 plus 12 plus 17, which is 41. The height of the prism, remember, connects base to base, so that's going to be 24. The formula is perimeter times height. The perimeter of the base was 41, and the height is 24. So 41 times 24 is, wouldn't you know, 984. So again, just proof that our formula works. Excuse me. This rectangular prism has a total surface area of 144 inches squared. We're going to find the height of the rectangular prism. So I don't know this, but I do know that the perimeter of the base is 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, which is 16. Then the base, big B, is 4 times 4, which is also 16. So for my total surface area, my formula is perimeter times height plus 2 times the base. They told me total surface area was 144. I figured out the perimeter, but not the height. I do know that 2 times the base is 2 times 16. And then I need to use my equation stuff that I learned at the beginning of the year to solve this. I'm going to do the 2 times 16 first, simplifying. That's 32. I need to get rid of addition and subtraction first, so I'm going to subtract 32 from both sides. 144 minus 32 is 112. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 16 to get that away from the h. And that's going to give me that the height is 7. So answer to this problem, A. Now, worst case scenario, if you're on a STAR test or a multiple choice test and you have these multiple choice answers, just start plugging them in until you figure out which one works. It's more time consuming, but at least you're guaranteed to get your answer right. So that's all we have for today. Please complete the practice pages in your workbook.